Okay, so when you hear the name Jack Ma, what comes to mind? Probably Alibaba, right? E-commerce, just immense wealth. But what if I told you the story of Asia's king of e-commerce starts somewhere completely unexpected?
So, let me ask you this. How do you become a billionaire? I mean, really, you're probably thinking it's all about the right connections, a fancy degree from a top school, or maybe just some insane luck.
Well, the answer, at least in this story, is probably not what you'd expect. You do it by failing. And I mean, failing a lot. See, Jack Ma's journey isn't some fairy tale of instant success. It's a total masterclass in what it means to be resilient.
So let's rewind the clock. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, to a chapter of his life we could call the ultimate underdog.
Okay, so take a look at this. This is the rejection resume of a future billionaire. Seriously, he failed his university entrance exam not once, but twice. He applied to Harvard, not one, not two, but 10 times, and got rejected every single time. He got turned down for over 30 different jobs. And get this part is just wild. When KFC first came to a city, 24 people applied for a job. They hired 23 of them. Guess who the one person they rejected was? Yep, Jack Ma. This guy was no prodigy. He was just someone who heard the word no over and over and over again.
And it's not like he had some rich family or powerful connections to fall back on. Not at all. He was born in 1964 into a poor family. His parents were traditional musicians and storytellers. So, there was absolutely zero background in business or tech or money to give him any kind of a head start.
So the big question is, how does a guy with a resume full of rejections even begin to break into the tech world? Well, it all came down to one single moment. One search on a computer that would completely change his life and honestly the future of e-commerce. Picture this. It's 1995. Jack Ma is on his first ever trip to the US, and he uses the internet for the very first time. So what does he do? Just out of curiosity, he types China into a search bar. And the result? Basically, nothing. No Chinese businesses, no products, just a void. And that was his light bulb moment. He saw this massive, empty digital space and thought, wait a minute, I could be the one to fill this.
So he goes for it. His first real attempt was a company he called China Pages. And guess what? It failed. But here's the thing about Jack Ma. He didn't see it as a loss. He actually called it the tuition he paid for his real education. So even his very first step into this brand new world was, technically, another failure to add to the list.
Okay, so tuition's paid, lessons learned, he was ready to go again. But this time, it was different. This time, he was going to build an empire. And I mean, literally from nothing. Alibaba was born in 1999. But forget any images of a fancy Silicon Valley office. Nope. It started in a tiny apartment in his hometown. The team? Just him and 17 of his friends. And capital? They had next to none. It was a classic David versus Goliath story right from the get-go. And their vision, their big idea, wasn't just about getting rich. The real core of it was about helping the little guy. The small and medium-sized businesses that are the real engine of any economy. Their mission was simple but huge. Create a platform to make it easy to do business for anyone, anywhere in the world. And that mission? That became their secret weapon in the battle against the global giant at the time, eBay. See, while eBay was all about short-term profits, Alibaba played a different game. They put their customers first. They focused on those small businesses. And they built something brilliant, a local payment system called Alipay to create trust. That's something eBay just didn't get. Alibaba played the long game, and boy, did they win.
Okay, so that's the what he built, but the how is just as important. What was the mindset, the philosophy that drove all of this? This is where we get into what makes Jack Ma, well, Jack Ma. I think this one quote just sums it all up perfectly. He said, "Today is hard, tomorrow is harder, but the day after tomorrow is beautiful." I mean, that's it right there. It's this deep belief in perseverance. The idea that you have to be willing to fight through the really, really tough days to finally get to see that beautiful sunrise.
And his leadership style was totally unconventional for the time. He was all about innovation and creativity. He believed a leader's job is to serve their team, not boss them around. And that whole failure thing, he baked it right into his philosophy. It wasn't something to hide, it was a critical tool for learning. And then, in a move that a lot of founders would never make, he proved he was really playing the long game. In 2019, he actually stepped down as chairman of the massive empire he built. Why? To shift his focus to philanthropy, education, and environmental causes through his own foundation. Okay, that's a heck of a story. But what does it all mean for you? Why should you care? Let's break it down into some key lessons, the stuff you can actually take away from all this.
All right, here it is. Let's call it the Jack Ma playbook. Step 1, embrace failure. Seriously, all those rejections he got, they weren't the end of the road, they were the pavement for the road. Step 2, look beyond grades. Your report card does not define what you're capable of. Step 3, be persistent. Your vision and your refusal to quit, those are your superpowers. And finally, step 4, solve real problems. The best ideas don't come out of thin air, they come from looking around you and seeing what's broken or what could be better.
And that really brings us to the final, most important point. Jack Ma saw a huge problem. Chinese businesses weren't online, and he set out to fix it. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Look around your own world. What problem is just sitting there, waiting for someone like you to solve it?